Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 challenge, Saving a Giant with me, Daniel. Today it's episode 4 and we continue the legacy of our head coach manager as we play Tottenham at home in the Premier League in a game that might be slightly more important than it looked originally. Tottenham are up in second, they're in the title race, then Newcastle and City are the three up there, with the usual likes of United and Chelsea just behind. But today we've managed to creep our way up to mid-table and take any fear of relegation away, and with a home win we could finish the weekend as high of 8th place and just 1 point behind our Merseyside rivals Everton, who we'd hopefully like to overtake by the end of the year. If we can nick 7th place we might end up in Europe as well, and as you can see from the top right of the screen we've still got an FA Cup run to go on to. We'll also review plenty of transfer news ahead of the deadline day tomorrow. I think most of the work is already done, but we'll go and take a look at the players our director of football put bids in for, and we'll obviously look at the ones that we agreed and pushed over the line. More importantly though, we've also got to go and look at our previous results. I want to show you what's been going on in the last month or two. As you can see from the league table, we're in brilliant form. We're flying back up the league and we're doing really well. And it sort of reminds me of the Christmas challenge I did on FM19 Touch. With Newcastle United, we took them over in a similar position, this time marooned in the relegation zone. And not only did we manage to get them out, but we were just winning constantly. We were able to sign good players and it all just seemed a bit easier than it should have been, and I think I'd say the same again here. The new manager bounce seems to be so good, and we have had it at other clubs as well. When we were doing the head coach series earlier in the year, we had that little spell as a new manager, and I know they often talk about the honeymoon period in real life, but it seems this one's gone on a bit too long. But let's go and look at the transfers first. Let me know your thoughts on that one though, I am interested. If you do similar short-term challenges in your careers, let me know if you found the same thing, or am I just getting lucky at these two clubs, as I did in a Christmas challenge, and I am again here with Liverpool. So at the moment it looks like the rest of the deals are going to be going out. Mauri, one of the centre halves, he's going to be a big burden off the wage bill. Celtic have put in a bid for him, 28.5 million in full. Scottish football doing okay again in this one. A lot of people said in our 5 and 10 year review that in our Torquay series the Scottish sides were just doing well because we only had England and Scotland and the UK loaded, but in this one we've got most of Europe loaded and Scotland has still risen towards the top, so I'm not quite sure what to make of that. We'll go and have a look at it at the end of the series. Then we've also got Davidi. He's one of the young central midfielders, or 26 now to be fair, he's not that young, but we've got a little couple of loan bids for him, though we did reject the move to one of them. And then we're selling one of the youngsters, Joby Holwell, not the first youngster to leave the club this month, but I'm sure he'll go and have a good career in the Football League. But in terms of the deals already done, you could see there was only 9 million of transfer budget remaining, and that's because we've signed quite a few players. A lot of it's in instalments as well. Our director of football using that money that's not there yet. A little tactic that's used by most clubs these days. Let's look at the players that have gone out though first. Still a couple of good sales in there. Firstly, a loan deal for Pablo Perez. He was a young winger who only made a couple of appearances under me, but 100 grand a month and 36 grand a week being paid, so we can't complain about that. A really decent player, and now he's picked up an injury and hopefully he'll do well while he's there and come back a slightly better player. Then the big sale was one of the youngsters from the under-23s, came back from a loan on the 1st of January and we went on and sold him straight away. I hadn't put him on the transfer list, but Barnsley came in with a massive offer and we couldn't turn it down for an average player. Omar Posada, a really decent young central midfielder, 23-year-old Colombian, looks a solid player, maybe top-end Championship, lower Premier League, helping out one of our former clubs from the head coach series of course. He's played one game for them, started and scored on his debut, so a good start at the club for him, but £12 million is an awful lot of money for a player that really isn't that special. I just want to very quickly go and look at Barnsley. Have they still got the same director of football that we had? Dougie Freeman is still there, and he's the man who's made that signing. Danny Cowley in charge now, interestingly, but good to see that Dougie's still going strong. A hero in a couple of seasons for us, and he really helped us become a Premier League manager. Moving on, we've got a couple of loan players going out, including a fourth choice centre-half Mohamed Jalassi. He was on 30 grand a week, so that's a good deal to get over the line when he's not a particularly strong player. And then finally, Federico Chiesa. We did get a player in attacking areas, and as a result we decided to move him on. £7 million for him, all of his wages being paid, which was over 100 grand a week, and he was starting to decline quite heavily on the physical side, and at 34 we weren't going to get a return after this. So a decent deal for us, didn't really fit into our formation, but a really good servant for Liverpool as a club, 233 league appearances and nearly 50 goals as well. So well done to him for his career, but he didn't contribute too much under us. Then on to the signings in January. You already knew about the first one, of course. Shea Ben Harouche, our former hero at Sporting Lisbon in the head coach. He's come and joined us as a left winger. You can see he's already off the mark in the FA Cup and Premier League, and he's a really good player. 4-star ability, 4-star potential, and he's worth 54 million, despite signing for just 40. A really good deal for the club, and brilliant work from our director of football to get a good player at that price. At 21, he'll be the natural replacement for Vinicius Jr, and he should serve Liverpool for the decade to come. So a really good start to the window, and we were very optimistic after this one, and it was followed by the signing of a striker from Rangers, Kevin Anderson, for 13.25 million. An advanced forward who runs off the shoulder of the final man, is a wonder kid according to the media, and he looks a very good player at 19. 3-star ability, 4-star potential, 2-footed, beats the offside trap, places shots, which is my favourite trait in an attacking player, and he knocks the ball past his opponent, trusting his pace and acceleration to get him there. He's also got good agility, decent composure and anticipation, good off the ball, a decent work rate, and great finishing, dribbling and first touch. He's got all the key attributes we'd want, and I think he's going to be a superstar in the future. Yet to get off the mark in terms of goals, but he did get an assist in the FA Cup. So I think he's going to turn out to be a very good value signing. 5 goals in 9 Scottish caps already. But then next came the one we really needed. A central defender from Manchester City. Again on the 3rd of January, our director of football put in about 4 bids on the first. A couple of them got rejected, but these 2 got sorted and a contract was agreed. And in the end there were ones that we were happy to sign. We just pressed the accept button at the end. The director of football did the rest. We've got João, the centre half. He's a 21-year-old Brazilian. Again a bit younger than the other players at the club. Seems to be a real focus from our director of football, signing young players for the first team in the future. This one's now worth more than we signed him for as well. 3-star ability, 4-star potential, stays back at all times. He's just a really solid player. Good jumping, reach, marking and tackling, really strong decision making and bravery, and he's pretty solid across the board. Another player we're looking forward to working with. He's got an average rating above a 7 in his 4 appearances for us, 3 in the league and 1 in the FA Cup, and we're really looking forward to working with him again. I think he's going to help us for the rest of this season. Fourth is another player you may recognise from our season at Sporting, Breno Henrique, a right back from PSG. £17 million we paid for him, and if you do recognise him, it's because he was a star player for Porto last season, who obviously had some run-ins with us in various competitions in the head coach. He's a really solid right back at 28 years of age, like many players in this series, signed by PSG and then not actually needed, so he ended up coming out again. We got him on a permanent for 17 million, and again he's now worth more. A very solid wage for a backup right back, and he's that little bit younger than Trent Alexander-Arnold, who can't really play more than 1 game a week now. 3-star ability though, a really solid backup, and it just fills our defensive positions nicely. We're completely happy with what we've got now. A really solid pro, and for our director of football, it's probably his best signing of the window, as it's a position we needed. He got an experienced player, rather than the young ones in other areas, and it was a player we'd definitely like to work with, so I'm really pleased he's here too. And then finally, just a cheap loan deal that won't really make much sense to many, is literally to meet the homegrown quota in the squad, so we were a little bit more involved in this one. He put in an initial transfer bid to him to try and sign him as a young player. It was rejected, so we went back in with the loan approach, as we could see he was on the loan list, and we only need him for half a year, and to be honest, I don't think he's going to reach that big potential, so signing him permanently wouldn't have worked out. Particularly for the 15 million or so they were talking about, it seemed a little extravagant for what he offered. but a 22-year-old Welsh centre-half, Stephen Edge has 2-star ability and he's just going to be a backup centre-half really. The one slight issue he's down as a first-team player, but I'm sure he won't get too unhappy over 3.5 months. An under-21 international for Wales, and he's just there to fill the homegrown quota and offer us a 4th choice at centre-half, with both Jalassi, who we mentioned already, and a Maori likely to leave for Celtic. That gives us 3 good centre-halves and then one poor 4th one if needed. But a really good January transfer window. There is still one day and £9 million remaining, so if our director of football wants to do something special, he can continue to look at our scout reports. So as it's been quite a busy transfer window, we'll go very quickly through the schedule. You were obviously with me for the Manchester City Carabao Cup game, which we lost 1-0 and it deserved to be far more, but it was the start of some defensive solidity, bar that one game against Chelsea. We won 2-1 at Brentford with Brewster and Antunes scoring again. They did get a late consolation the Bees, but it wasn't enough to get a result. Then a 5-0 defeat to Chelsea, by far the worst moment at the club so far, but it was a catalyst for us. We had a big chat with the lads afterwards and they seem to have responded in the perfect way. So we started with a 6-0 win at home to Sunderland. Jimenez got a hat-trick, all the other strikers scored as well, Brewster, Antunes and Connolly with one apiece. Then into the new year on New Year's Day, we won 2-1 at home to Arsenal. We went 1-0 down courtesy of a Hudson-Odoi goal, but Vinicius Jr. and Botta just either side of the break, putting us ahead, and we managed to hold on, and it was a really good victory in the end. That was the one that made it obvious for me that we were going to be safe, although we did follow it up with a really disappointing performance. Our largely backup team drawing 2-2 away at Cambridge. That was in the FA Cup 3rd round. I think they're still in League 2. They're not, they're up in 5th in League 1, so maybe that's not as bad as I thought it was. A 2-2 draw, Ben Harush scoring on his first start for the club, and Lucimar getting us an equaliser late on. Then a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford in the league. Jimenez sent off after 12 minutes when we were already 1-0 down. And we went to a really deep counter-attacking shape, and Antunes scored one over the top, running in behind from a long ball, and we managed to cling on for a precious point. The cup replay was a comfortable 2-0 win, holding midfielder Visa Hugo with both goals, and in the second half we just kept possession well. And then a 5-1 win at home to Burnley in the league. This was 5 different goal scorers, an own goal, 3 of the strikers in Antunes, Jimenez and Brewster, and Shea Ben Harush again on the score sheet. Then a 3-0 win against Millwall in the FA Cup, the first of 2 times we played them in 3 days. Vinicius Jr. with a brace, and then a late goal from Jimenez too. And then a 2-0 win against the same opponents in the league, Rhian Brewster with both the goals on that occasion. I just want to draw your attention to Millwall, currently in a relegation battle in the Premier League, but they've got a couple of heroes from previous seasons to this save. At right back they had Ivan Chan, a player that obviously won the Italian league with Napoli for us, so you could say that's a bit of a fall from grace. In a period of just 2 years, he's ended up coming to the Premier League and playing for a relegation threatened club, but he's doing a decent job there and he's still a Mexican international. But the other one is one we remember from Barnsley, Niall Goodwin, the central midfielder. He was the first homegrown player we got to work with at a club that we really got excited about. We had him and Tom Burton at Barnsley, and even though Goodwin's going grey now, he's still playing Premier League first team football. But let's get into this game against Tottenham, as I'm aware it's been quite a long episode already. Both sides in excellent form. We've won our last 4, Spurs their last 5, so it could be a very good tussle out there. Horace Stewart we mentioned a few times in the head coach series. He's won a Ballon d'Or along the way. He's out injured at the moment. We've still got the 2 long-term ones, Morella from the last episode, and Oscar Allen who's on his way back from a broken leg. Spurs missing 3 in total, so it's going to be a very close game. So a couple of the new signings in the side now. We've got Manolis in goal as always, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Lambert the fullbacks, with new signing Zhao alongside Botta at centre-half. We've got Benitez in that Segundo Volante role, Antonov in central midfield, and then Brewster and Ben Harush the January signing out wide, with Jimenez and Antunes up front. Anderson and Breno Henrique are on the bench, the other new signing Stephen Edge, unfortunately not in the squad. Let's go and get into the game though, and hope we can get a result with our positive mentality. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Spurs, a pretty standard formation at this level. We're going to go and talk to the lads though, tell them to go out and prove a point. It's pretty much what Yarovinski says every single time, and most of the lads are motivated by it, so fingers crossed they'll respond in their performance. Apologies for the loud spacebar smash there, as it goes to Spurs left back from the kickoff. Garcia charging down the left wing for them. Alexander-Arnold I thought had won the ball there, but a free kick's been given, and Spurs have got the first chance to put it in the box. We don't see the free kick though as the highlight ends and it remains 0-0 with 6 minutes gone. It's a throw on the right. Our first chance to come forward is headed away by Castillo though. Benitez recycles it and finds Antonov, and now Brewster, who's moved out to that right hand side, falls for Antonov, and now Ben Harush. His shot's blocked twice and it's cleared long as far as Zhao, who manages to get the header away. But a really good start to the game. Brewster's still been scoring goals for fun on the right. He's got 13 now and is the third top scorer in the league, and with half an hour gone we could do with him getting one here. We're yet to have a shot on target. It's been a very dull game so far. It's a throw for Spurs on the right hand side though. Ben Harush heads it away to Purby. He switches it for Garcia. Now Castillo in the middle and Jensen. He gets it inside to Purby again. Now Ibero out to Timmermans. The right back can cross it for Spurs. Flicked away as far as Ibero, but it's straight into the arms of Manolis. 10 minutes to the break and he's still goalless at Anfield. It's a corner for Spurs, a minute left in the first half. Botta heads it away as it doesn't beat the first man. Pearson tries to cross again and Ben Harush blocks it and gets away. Now Jimenez coming over halfway. We've got a 4-on-5 here. He slid it in for Antunes. Brilliant ball through, but Antunes crashes into the woodwork. It's hit the post and it's cleared away. And now it's a throw for Alexander-Arnold on the right. Brewster flicks it on to Benitez. Antonov switches for Lambert at left back. He finds Ben Harush who shoots, and it's a good save by the Spurs keeper. Jimenez is offside from a rebound, and at the half-time whistle it will be 0-0. A decent performance, but not really too many chances. 0-0's not a bad result against Spurs. They are up in second place in the league, but we will tell the lads to go and prove a point, and we'll get back into the second and hope for a good performance. Here we go though, Antunes kicks off for Botta. He finds Zhao at centre half. Will we see a longer highlight, or will it just be the usual 10 seconds and then a highlight ending like that? It's Antonov with a free kick though, back with a couple of Liverpool possession moments early on, as it's back into the box towards Timmermans, who heads it away quite comfortably. The fact that the chance of highlights we're seeing are really half chances or just clearances shows you how poor this match has been, as Jimenez finally gets a free header. Good cross by Alexander-Arnold, but it's into the arms of the Spurs keeper, who clears it long downfield. A few more highlights in this half so far, but still no real clear-cut chances. That one may well have gone down as one, as Brewster nicks it high up the pitch on the right. He switches for Ben Harush. Into Brewster. He's hit the woodwork as well. Twice we've hit the post in this game, and it remains goalless with 10 minutes gone in the second. It's a throw for Alexander-Arnold at right back. Brewster inside to Benitez. Usually so reliable in front of goal, Brewster. On this occasion he missed an easy one. Jimenez in behind from the long ball though. Crosses towards Antunes, but it's hacked away by Spurs brilliantly, and Benitez finds Lambert again. Still going on the left as Ben Harush is challenged, and it's won back by Benitez and now Brewster on the right. We continue to pile men forward. Jimenez flicks on the header, but it has gone wide at the far post, and it's still 0-0 at Anfield. Spurs have picked up an injury, but they have brought on a wonder kid, and neither side really looks like scoring, as our chances haven't been clear-cut. Prashado gets the ball in goal for Spurs though, as it was just a simple header back to the keeper, but his clearance is poor and it's one back in midfield. Antonov going wide to Ben Harush. His cross is blocked. He's not had the best game. I say that looking at his performance, but now we've given away a penalty. Oh, Zhao, what a silly tackle. So clumsy at the back, and now Spurs have got a chance to take the lead, despite us dominating the start of the second half. Who's going to take it for them? That's the big question. Zhao's got a yellow card, so we haven't got to worry about a sending off. It's going to be taken by Pearson. It's gone into the bottom left-hand corner. It was a good effort from Manolis. He went the right way, but he never looked like getting there. A really good penalty, and we'll think about changes in a moment. Antonov with a corner in. It's headed away by Timmermans. Ben Harush has got it there. What I was saying about him is his performance doesn't look very good on the pitch. Lost possession a few times, had a lot of block crosses as Benitez hits one straight at the keeper. But his rating 6.9, the joint best of anyone in our side. So he seems to be doing something right, even if we can't quite see it. But let's go and make some changes now. Ben Harush is the most tired player on the pitch, so we're going to replace him with Vinicius Jr., who scored a few goals himself recently. Antunes is going to be replaced up front, or maybe even Jimenez actually. Antunes will go into the complete forward role and Anderson will go as an advanced forward. Can the teenager save the day? I'm sure we'll find out in a moment. The other one who's a bit furious at the moment, Martin Benitez in the holding role. Vita Hugo will come on for him and hopefully these three will make a difference. Manolis goes long downfield, Antunes flicks it onto Brewster and now we've really got a chance in attack. I think one of the catalysts for our change in form is because we've had Brewster and Ben Harush out wide. I say as Spurs nearly score again, Manolis makes the same and we're going to go all out attack and we're going to demand more from the lads for the last 5 or 6 minutes. Perby crosses, we'll come back to our point in a moment. Persson plays it back out to him, but it's overhit and out for a goal kick. As I was saying before in terms of tactics, with Brewster and Ben Harush we've been able to drop them to support duties, whereas Morala and Vinicius Jr. couldn't really play there. We're sort of forcing Vinicius Jr. into it now, and we'll probably do the same later in the season with Morala, but we're relying on him coming back from injury in form, even though he's going to be out for 3 or 4 months. Is Persson on the right for Spurs? We played 3 of the 5 added minutes, and we've not really had a chance since the goal. We dominated the start of the second half, but didn't take our chances when they came. But here's Anderson the sub. Long ball to Antunes who flicks it on, but Timmermans gets it back to the keeper, and it's long downfield by Spurs. Botta finds Vinicius Jr. Out to Brewster on the right. It'd be a great time to nick a point. He's beaten a man there and it's out for a throw. I thought for a second he'd get a free kick. Just 20 seconds left. It's the last chance here. Alexander-Arnold to Anderson. He's flicked it on for a goal kick. The youngster's really not made much of an impact. The full-time whistle goes. Spurs nick it 1-0 away from home. A penalty after a clumsy challenge from João, who ironically still has the good rating of the 2 centre-halves. He did play well aside from that, and in an even game we've just lost out. We're going to tell the lads it was hard to take. We agree with Yarovinski on that one, and the lads are motivated and relaxed, so it's back to the drawing board tomorrow. There won't be much happening in deadline day, so we don't need to worry too much about that, but we will reflect on any further players going out when we come back for episode 5. So there we have it. Unfortunately, we don't close the gap on Everton, even though we are now comfortably in the top half. But they're our real target for the rest of this season, to chase them down for 7th or 8th place. I'd imagine Arsenal will probably finish above us, so it is going to be tough to get into Europe. But the FA Cup is obviously another route. We've got a big tie coming up in that one. We've gone to the competition screen by mistake there. Fulham away, it's a pretty friendly tie, as has the whole run been so far, but if we get through then we'll have a big quarter final and we may even come back to see that on camera. If not, we'll show you one of the big games in the league. West Ham are up in 6th, so that could be one. We've got a youth intake coming in March as well, and then Man City at the end of that month too. So certainly a game in March you'll see next, but I'm not quite sure which one it is yet. But if you did enjoy this episode and a spirited performance against Spurs, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the January work, who your favourite signing is of the lot. Are you happy to see us reunited with Ben Harush, or the fact that we've now got Breno Henrique on our side after he caused us problems with Porto last year? Any of the sales you're disappointed with? I don't think so out of the ones that have gone. None of the superstars have left the club, only ones that wanted to, and ones that were on the fringe of the first team. Vita Hugo, the backup holding midfielder, is now happy to stay, and that was the only one I didn't want to leave, so I'm pretty happy with where we are at the moment. Subscribe to the channel for 3 episodes a week from this new FM19 challenge, as well as our long-term FM19 story. Season 15's probably been the most crucial one so far in that Torquay series, so do go and check it out if you're not up to date. There's also 3 episodes a week from my Cricket 19 career. That's every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at midday. A massive thank you to everyone that's watched that one and the Ashes Test playthrough beforehand. I really do appreciate the support with them and can't thank you enough for giving it a try. Then there's weekly content from my Snooker 19 career every Friday at 4:30. But a massive thanks for watching this one and your continued support with the series. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time for another big game and maybe even some youth intake news as well.